go. Ah, so I'm excited to be here with CiCi Moscati today of Legacy Lifetime. Thank you so much for, taking the time to share and to come and be together in this way and see what wants to be shared about your work and about how you support others in creating their holistic lifestyle and their legacy. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really honored to be here to do that and share with you and give value. It's wonderful to be able to come together like this.
Yes, it is, especially these days. There's so much need, I think, for connection, and sharing our gifts, as we are working through all of these big collective healing processes on our planet right now. And just, what I feel like I'd like to start with, if you're open to it, is to hear a little bit about your own healing journey and what in essence was then became the birth of Legacy Lifetime, if you'd like to share.
Sure, definitely would love to. So I think for me, my journey began in my late 20s. I was diagnosed with breast cancer, a pretty aggressive form of it, since I was so young. And that really began I don't want to say my awakening, but it really it enhanced my desire to go deeper. I think I want to say that I was always a pretty awakened person. I was always conscious of, everyone's energy around me and things of that nature. But, life gets in the way and somehow we fall out of alignment and, we lose the original connection that we once had. So I think breast cancer was a soul wake-up call for me to get back into rightful alignment. So I think that's when I began to dive deeper into my holistic journey and my spiritual journey and my physical journey as well, because I also needed to heal from this, awful disease. So I think I also had a young family at the time, little babies, and I think that even more so, just something in my brain just snapped and said, you have to now do this the right way. And so that prompted me to start researching and to start creating a system for myself that would help me to have balance and to be able to explore my spirituality and facilitate my wellness and be able to take care of my young family at the same time. So I dove as hard and as fast as I could to get knowledge and to experience, the awakening in a conscious way. So that's how I really birthed Legacy Lifetime. That's where it began. And I think wanting to create a structure that I knew would be in place no matter what I was going through, because it is a lot to have such a big family and to recover from a major illness of that nature, and to also just deal with regular, ordinary life. I wanted to, facilitate, have something that would be in place no matter what was going on in life, and have something that anchored into my reality that I could always fall back into. And so that's how Legacy Lifetime came about.
Wow. Thank you so much, CiCi, for sharing your story. And I just feel that that courage and that motivation and that the way that you were called to action by the universe to learn as much as possible, as fast as possible, to survive. And then it sounds like in your discovering of these things and how to create those structures for yourself, then you realize that it was an offering that then you could share with others.
I think
Yeah.
it's definitely my call to action, and realizing that I didn't know exactly what I needed to do. I realized,
Mm-hmm.
oh my goodness, there must be thousands, millions of people that, feel the same way, and I have to help. I need to help. That was the wake up call that I needed to share and to help others too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And, and that's, for me, when I think about that initiatory process or that call to action that the universe gives us, it's like that's how we shift that into the offering. Is I think that's the work, right? That's the way to be on the healing path, is to know that there's going to be these challenges. And I love, that you call them these like major life obstacles, right? That we have to confront, and so I'm wondering, like, what are some other examples of major life obstacles that you help support people with?
Well, I know for me, I like to speak from experience. I want to be able to dive as deeply as possible into helping others. So I want to come from a place where I've experienced myself. So uh, I like to help with grief.
Mm-hmm.
It's a major life obstacle that definitely impacts people in a major way. Um, some other things are abandonment issues, some other things that are big with loss of child. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what else? That's another form of grief, but it
Mm-hmm.
impacts in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also, I want to say traumas,
Mm-hmm.
sexual traumas, and things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. They're very heavy on the life experience, and
Mm-hmm.
so I like to help with that. Help with things that people don't necessarily like to speak about openly. I like to help with the tough things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you're giving people a place, a safe place, and permission to work on things that aren't easy to talk about, aren't easy to confront, aren't easy to heal from, right? Like some of these, like you said, that sort of life death like interface, like you survived, and there are some people who have lost parents, like myself. I lost my mother, and she was, young as well. So I feel like we have that kinship, that you survived and get to do the work, and I feel like, as the only child of my mother, like I feel like I'm carrying her legacy to do the work, right? And so bereavement, grief, loss, and trauma. I think these are things that so many people need support with. And
And they
yeah, and I go ahead.
don't necessarily like to come right out with it. It's a process to even want to seek the help, to be
That's
supported.
right. That's right. Even to be able to identify what's needed, right? For many of us who are sensitive, we maybe say highly sensitive or empaths, right? That it's sometimes even sorting out what's ours and what's not ours is like a huge step to even get to the place, like, what am I actually feeling?
That is that right there. That is it. That's the harder part.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, it really
Mhm.
is. And not knowing that you're sensitive,
Exactly.
how do you even? So yeah, I like to help guide people into, and not even so much being, very much in your face about it, but rather just allowing, like you said, to just hold protected space, to allow that unfolding to happen, on its own, and
Mm.
just empowering you with just the space alone.
Yes, the
All that we
quality of
really
the
need, because
space.
it's all inside of us. And if the space is provided, then you will find your way.
That's right. That's exactly right. And it's such an honoring way to hold it, right? That you're really respecting the inner guidance and the inner healer of the folks that you sit with and support. Yeah, I really hear that. Hmm. It's a gift. It's a real gift to do that, to be able to hold that. Yeah. Yeah. And I also heard, in that you were talking about structure, right? That there's actually structures that can be supportive um, and teachings in a way of like, what is a holistic lifestyle? What is balance, right? And so how does that support someone that's trying to find themselves, do you think?
I will explain how I did it. I
Mm-hmm.
built a legacy, is what I call it. It's actually an instrumental or an instrument for living a lifestyle that you desire. And so you tap into your desires, your true self, and you draw out all of these feelings and, what you ever wanted from the very beginning, and you outline it, and you I, I want to say um, you tap into higher self, really, and you draw out everything that you're afraid of, or that you've been afraid of embracing, because really that's what most of our blockages are. That's what most of our limitations are. And so I get you to draw that out and to write your legacy. I think I was first drawn to thinking of legacy from maybe way back in 2006. Steve Tavolina or someone like that had an exercise where you imagine yourself at your funeral, and you think back to how you would want to be remembered,
Mm.
and you then present mentally, you project back mentally what you would have want to have been said about you at your funeral there. And so you start from the end,
Mm.
and you visualize that, and you have that be your guiding force for creating the legacy that you want to live. So thereby consciously living what you desired. So
Wow.
have you make the instrument out. It's kind of like a will, but not really. It's an instrument, but and you basically um, separate them into different major life areas, what you want to see happen in each area of your life, and you focus on manifesting it on a daily basis. And
Mm.
that's pretty much how it goes. And the structure is having the ideal in the forefront of your mind on a continual basis, so that
Mm-hmm.
it's always a present facet of your actual life. So it's a holistic approach in that you have to deal with life on a multi-dimensional uh, approach, really, because if you don't, then you're not being authentic to your being, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
really placing full attention on all of your needs and all of your desires, and having your health and your spirituality and your mental agility being addressed all at once. And there's so many different levels of being that, to create balance, that are necessary. So when you have it laid down in a way such as a legacy, you don't forget these things. They're always in your face, and you're able to live your regular life, knowing that these things are taken care of because you've outlined them. So that's why I say it's holistic. And holism can take on different meanings for different people. I want to say that holism is very subjective because we have different, everyone has their own ideal for what their personal life balance is, or their personal idea of what success is even. So my idea of what physical wellness is going to be different than yours, or the next person or the next. So holism also takes on a subjective meaning because we have different ideals. So holism can be very, very scientific for some people, or it can be very spiritual for other people, or it could be very mental, brainy for other people. But in general, holism means taking a full view and a full multidimensional approach to your entire life.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it sounds both all encompassing, like all areas of life, and also tailor-made.
Yes.
I mean, what I'm hearing is that you're recognizing that different people have different needs and different goals.
Yes.
Right. So maybe for one person, maybe their spiritual area of life is quite, far along where they want it to be, but maybe their nutrition or their physical, self isn't, and maybe they want to do more exercise or something. Right. So, okay.
Not only that, I think in the beginning also for me, I liken it to, I don't know if you are familiar, with the game of spinning plates, where you start with one plate and you're spinning it, and then you move to the next one and you spin the next and the next. By the time you get to the third or fourth one, the first one has stopped. And so for me, that's how life was feeling when I first got sick. And it never seemed like I could get everything to be spinning all at once and be whole and complete. So building the legacy and making the 7 areas that I outline: spiritual life, personal life, family life, financial life, love life, and what else do I have? Seasonal life, pop cultural life. When you have all of those spelled out and you are able to have an idea of what's going on, there's none seem to be out of balance because you've addressed your core desires for seeing what happens in each area, and you feel that it's, no matter what, it's taken care of. So I feel very secure, and I know others do too in doing it. So that's holism in an alternative idea to holism in an alternative field as it is.
Exactly. Right. Like always in leadership on the edge of the edge, right? That's sort of what we're called to these days. Yeah. No, I love it. And I love that you're drawing out bringing the attention and sort of having something that you've documented that you're looking at, and it's staying in your focus, right? That when we're thinking about how do we move forward, right, there's definitely a sense, I'm thinking like vision boards too, that same kind of energy where it's like if it's present for you, then you can keep moving towards it. And also that was so interesting, that exercise of like, how do you want to be remembered? What do you want someone to say at your eulogy? It's like, and then like reverse engineering it. I have a similar process that I work, which is the optimal future self, which is kind of like you ask yourself, however, like 10 years, 20 years down the road, how did you get there? And that they tell you from the future. Like, so it's like, we don't have to figure it out, because it's like, it's so hard to think like, well, how am I going to get from point A to point B?
Yeah, that's totally overwhelming.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it makes sense. Yeah, and that there's these 7 areas that can be in balance, and then like, oh, I'd like to bring more love into my life or something. It's like I've been working so hard on the other aspects of legacy, that it's like I have not put as much focus into that, for example, and I'm just noticing, oh, that would be nice. Yeah.
Yes. And I
So
like to every year to, update your desires because we're constantly changing and, our ideals and our everything about us is constantly changing. So we need to update our legacies and
yes.
I like to say. And it's really important to keep up with that.
Yeah, we're evolving, aren't we? Constantly. That's right. And you mentioned seasonal too. That's something that I'm very intrigued about. And I'd love to hear you share about the seasonal aspect.
So I am very into nature, totally, like that is my whole being. Like everything is attuned to nature for me. That's just me. So that's the basis of my entire program. I mean, your seasonal life, there's a time and a place for everything under the sun. So um, paying attention to the seasons and the times and for example, even astrology and things of that nature that are seasonally aligned play a big part in our lives. And so making sure that we are doing things that are aligned with nature, that is, constant flow, is very helpful to our own personal life balance. So it was very important for seasonal life to be a major life area that we stay on top of. And I think that, well, the program itself is seasonally based. So everything that I do is based on the seasons. So it's a big part in, even how we think, our bodies, our mindsets, our, what you do in fall is different than how you conduct yourself in the summertime. So we have different seasonal selves. So that's important. It's an important aspect. It doesn't seem like it maybe, but it really has a big influence on our lives.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, that being in tune with like our inner life as well as like the outer world, right? The environment, that how it's connected. And I mean, we are the earth, right? Our bodies are connected to the earth. So to be truly holistic means that we're also taking that into consideration.
Absolutely. We're like our own ecological systems, even just in ourselves.
And that's right. That's right. And in female bodies, having that extra layer of seasonal connection to the lunar cycle, right? So there's that level too that I was thinking about.
Definitely.
Yeah.
As a young child, that was one of my first, you know, major connections with seasons. So very important. Very important.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned the program. So I wonder if you want to share a little bit when we're talking about legacy, it's like you help. So I feel this like layered thing happening where it's like you help people with their legacy, and legacy is your legacy as well as obviously other things. But
I get a double benefit from it, from helping others and also myself. So I'm not just
right.
helping other people. I'm totally living it, totally 100% living it and
That's
helping
right.
myself.
Yeah, that's right. And you said creators, innovators, and healers. I love that
So people,
because there's so much overlap there too, right? Especially now. Like
yes, yes. So many people are just coming to know that this is who I am, and it's actually being embraced now and noticed. And so I think most I like to say on a broader scale, I help heart-centered and spiritual-minded people, and those people tend to be the creators, innovators, and healers, and intuitives and empaths. So yeah, that's where it's at. Those are my people. And so um, the program itself is definitely multi-layered. So we have a program where you actually build your legacy on a personal basis. You take a deep reflective look into your desires, and you learn to embrace everything about what you want to become and how you want to be remembered, and what you want to consciously live. So there's that aspect of it where it's very personal and, as I said, subjective. And then once you do that, you can then join in the community and be a part of a collective ongoing growth, and be supported in a protected space for continuous growth and development, and to maintain what you've established for yourself in building and becoming more conscious of your legacy. So it's like a transcendental space of becoming and being, and just, being able to interact on a broader scale with the world once you have claimed your higher purpose and your higher self, and you feel comfortable in that being with your legacy, and that this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm living, and here's the space where I can continually explore how to live it, now that I'm aware of it. And also I didn't mention before that I liked that a legacy is always in place, because as spiritual people, we like to, I don't like the term spiritual bypassing, but we like to maybe not so much acknowledge the practicality of everyday life, and life still happens. And even though we have this beautiful legacy space, life still happens, and the legacy is anchored in place. And even if something else comes along that is totally going to knock you off kilter, it's there, that space is there, and you can deal with that major life obstacle in your own way and in your own time and in your own space, and still pick up where you left off and continue living your legacy, and deal at the same time. So that's why it's really important and special to me, because you can still live life. You still have to deal with people. People still have an influence on your life, and so having that there is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I hear that sense of like a supportive place to not only shine and be held accountable, and to be reflected, in the gifts that are being brought forth, right, in the community. Which, like, when I say family, I'm like, family, this is soul family, this is community, right? And then, like you said, there are times that this plane and requirements that are being asked of us to deal with things here have to be dealt with, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not still living legacy, because I'm wondering if that means that, like, oh, if part of my legacy is to be to have compassion with truth or something, right? Then it's like I can even deal with major life obstacles and still be living my legacy, right? Because because it's qualities of being too, isn't it?
Exactly. 100.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but it sounds like to enter into the community, everyone's also then sort of on the same page in terms of the structural component.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Yes. So there is a series of resources whereby you learn about the journey of living your legacy, and where you are possibly at, and where you'd like to be on a general scale. And so, because it's a seasonal format, I highlight different different themes each month, and so you're able to kind of focus on those and all move at the same pace while still doing your own personal work, and so it works out really well.
Mm-hmm. So it is sort of a journey, isn't it?
Absolutely.
A journey and a process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're all just journeying as one, back to one. So
Mm-hmm.
that we do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I'm just really feeling, the gratitude for this time together today. And, when I think about like soul family and community, I also think like how grateful I am to have found you on Instagram and the soul family that we've created on there, and that there's a way that you can meet people all over the country and all over the world.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
Beautiful
Yeah.
thing for us to have
Mm-hmm.
come this far to be able to now meet our family
Mm-hmm.
this way. It's so touching. I love it. Love
Mm.
it.
I love it too. I love it too. So you said when you were going through your healing journey, your initiation, that your children are young and they're older now, and and just speaking about family.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, you have a little one now too. Yeah.
No, I was saying
So,
I always call them. They're not so little anymore, but I always call them my little ones.
oh yeah, exactly. They're always little and in your heart. So yeah, and so family, especially in times of, the pandemic and quarantine and stuff and being together. Do you have any words that you'd like to share about, about family or about this time that we're in, or anything that's helped you or your family or anything like that about these times?
I think that family is like the center of everything for me. Platonic family, spiritual family. Just this time it's been really heavy, but the stopping, the slowing down, and really taking stock of what's important and learning to value family has really, I think, come full circle for everyone. And it's it's got to be at the center of what and who we are. And I think that's what these times have really been for so many of us, just to relearn that truth about how valuable and how important family really is. And I'm not loving the times, but loving the process of relearning and reconnecting with the value of the importance of family. And I think it's important for all of us to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's sobering sometimes also to think of just how far away from it that we had been, and what it's taken to have to bring us back to that importance.
That's
So
right.
I'm hoping that we'll keep that value and retain what we've learned right now going forward.
Mm.
So I think just being in this close space that we have to be right now, I think that it's just important for everyone to value and look for the good in our loved ones, and find the beauty in everyone. And I think this is
Mm.
giving us the opportunity, a well-needed opportunity to do that, finding the beauty in the people that are dear to us. So important.
Mm.
And I'm
Mm.
loving that about the unfortunate situation. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. like really feeling into relationships and community and family and soul family in whatever way that shows up for people, and those connections, how they can deepen, even whether you're in a house together with people or if we have to get on Zoom to connect. But the fact that we have Zoom to connect with people across the country when we can't travel necessarily, or and yeah, and that it's really, like you said, a time of reassessing and seeing the underlying agendas of things, and sussing all that out and clearing and detoxing all that, so that we can, I think, be in alignment. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
And deepening our connections. And I say that legacy is leaving everyone a connection to you. The connection part of being in the situation is just really, really, really important. And being able to connect from near and far is, on the multidimensional level too, is really important.
Yes. Yeah. It really is. It really is. And yeah, I just, yeah, I really feel into both on this plane when you say connection, family, soul family, friendships, all of those. And then also like on the spiritual planes, when you said multidimensional, that there are so many guides and helpers that are here to support us through this time of awakening, right? That if we do the calculations from when we changed from the lunar calendar to the Julian calendar, that I think it was like 11 days a year, which is totals to 8 years. So actually 2012 is now, this year. And so that makes sense that everything that we were kind of thought was going to happen in 2012 is happening now. So it's this huge opportunity for the new earth, the new way of being to come in, right? And I really hear you supporting people doing that, right? Doing that with their own sort of soul purpose.
And actually loving that my daughters right now, I'm able to explain to them things that on a spiritual plane that I wouldn't have been able to in this way had we not had the opportunity to slow down, and even highlighting some things for myself that I just possibly wasn't aware of, or that it's really lighting up some things, and putting value in places where didn't realize we're there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really getting to deepen into those other relationships, the non-physical relationships. Yeah, and spiritual practice.
Spiritual practice, loving the deepening of the spiritual practice.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad we took this time today. And so people can find you at legacylifetime.com. Okay, great. And there's a way to contact you through there. If they want to find out more about the programs and about the community and the work itself, like how they can deepen into creating their own legacy.
I have been, since the shifting in the times, I decided that it's a good opportunity to reformat and rebuild how we come together. So I think maybe September 15th, I'm going to kind of do a refounding member community where we can come together in a different way. So coming in now would be a really good time for starting the ground level and approaching it life as we have it now, because it's so different than 6 months ago, like the way that we're experiencing this earth plane and this reality right now. So this is a good time for a joining group.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it really is. These difficult, times and these challenges that are happening in all areas, collectively, it does call for, leaning in and leaning into support and leaning into each other. And so I really hear that, like, next month is really going to be like kind of a new way of being in community is going to show itself. And okay. Well, then I'm glad we did this now, the Zoomcast now. Good.
I'm so happy that we're doing this now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much.
But perfect alignment.
Exactly. Exactly. We just listened, and when we hear the call, we respond. Okay. Well, thank you so much, CiCi.
Thank you, Michelle. I had such a wonderful time with you. I'm so honored to be here with you today, and just love our connection here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.